Range script loaded. You can now press Escape, select Choose Slot and pick your aircraft. The Skyhawk can be armed with two basic types of rockets. A. The folding fin aerial rocket is an unguided rocket of 2.75 inches in diameter, carried in launchers of 7 or 19 rounds. Its effective range is around 3.5 kilometers. The FFAR was developed in the late 40s by the U.S. Navy and consists of two parts. B. The Zuni Mark 71 is a more modern unguided rocket of 5 inches in diameter, carried in launchers of 4 rounds. Its effective range is twice that of the FFAR. On DCS only a high-explosive warhead is available. For this training mission, we will use a weapons range that uses objects created by the 476 Virtual Fighter Group, and a hit-counting script developed by Siri Bob, which will allow you to gauge your accuracy and monitor your progress. Your goal is to make precision strikes, so you must adjust your firing to not use ripple fire. You can make as many passes as you want, while you still have any rockets left. You can access the shooting statistics calling up the F10 option of the communications menu. Your aircraft is ready to start the flight. Increase throttle and let the aircraft slowly move forward. Once the aircraft is moving, press the wheel brakes to confirm their operation. Release the wheel brakes and resume the taxi. Be careful of other traffic that may be near you. Good. Now turn left and proceed along the taxiway, towards the runway. Stop just short of the runway and then check that there is no air traffic about to land or take off. Unfortunately, the Skyhawk can't make use of the air traffic controller on DCS. If there is no traffic, enter the runway, align on its center and stop there. Refer to the takeoff checklist that is printed on the lower right of the instrument panel, beside the emergency generator handle. 1. Check trim. Elevator trim. 8 degrees nose uprooter trim. 0 degrees. Two. Seat harness. The shoulder harness should be in the locked position, forward. 3. Canopy. Confirm that the canopy is fully closed. 4. Flaps. Set to half extension. Press spacebar once they are extended. 6. Armament. Check that all switches are off. 7. Spoilers. Switch to armed, for shore-based operations. 8. Nose wheel steering. Set to normal. Actually, on the current simulation of the Skyhawk, there is no working nose wheel steering button, so it is always engaged. This completes the takeoff checklist. We will skip the engine fuel control test for brevity, as you already learned it on the carrier taxi and launch training mission. We are now ready for takeoff. Follow the usual procedure. 1. Hold wheel brakes, increase throttle to 90% RPM. Check instruments and alerts. If everything is well, release the brakes and accelerate to 100% RPM. Two. Reaching 135 knots, pull back softly on the stick until the aircraft nose begins to lift. On the air. 3. Once fully airborne, retract the landing gear. 4. Raise the flaps once over 170 knots. 5. Accelerate to climb speed. For this mission, fly at 300 knots. 6. Spoilers. Switch to off. You are over waypoint 1. Now, turn right towards waypoint 2, heading 335 degrees. You can set the navigation computer to D1 if you need help finding the weapon's range. Maintain 300 knots and 3,000 feet altitude. The procedure for using the rockets is as follows. 1. Set sight depression. On the briefing are shown the depression tables for both rocket types. Press left plus Alt plus B to look at it. Press spacebar once you have dialed the depression value that you want to use. Use this dial to adjust the gun sight brightness, so that it does not hide the targets. 2. Set the weapon's function selector to its rocket position. You may also click on the base of the flight stick to hide it, in order to have better access to the weapons panel. 3. Turn on the station select switches corresponding to the rockets that you want to fire. Four. Set the bomb arm switch to its nose and tail position, to arm the rocket's warheads. 5A. This knob allows you to specify how many rockets will be launched during each firing ripple. 5B. These controls set the interval of time between each ripple. It can be 20 to 200 milliseconds when the mult switch is at x1, or between 200 to 2000 milliseconds when mult switch at x10. As we are performing high precision shooting, set it to its minimum. 5C. There are two basic release modes, ripple release or step release. In step mode, each press of the trigger releases one and only one ripple of rockets. In ripple mode, it releases the rockets at the selected interval until the selected quantity has been fired. For each mode, you can select single, pairs or salvo, which will fire rockets in singles, pairs or all at once. Pairs can only be used when opposite wing stations are selected. It doesn't work with the ventral station. 6. Finally, prior to using the rockets, you should set the master arm switch to on. Good. The rockets are now ready to use. Fire them by pressing the stick's trigger, in the same way as when firing guns. If you want, you can also enable the internal guns. They will fire at the same time as when firing the rockets. We have reached waypoint 2. Turn right to enter the range on a heading of 90 degrees. The rocket's target circle is on its left side. Good pass. Turn right 180 degrees towards a heading of 270 degrees and perform another pass if you still have rockets left. If you are finished, then turn to a heading of 135 degrees and return to Napa Airbase. Good pass. Turn right 180 degrees towards a heading of 270 degrees and perform another pass if you still have rockets left. If you are finished, then turn to a heading of 135 degrees and return to a Napa airbase. You can check your range results by calling up the communications menu. Select F10. Other. Then select F2. Range. Finally, click F3. My bombing results. Unfortunately, the Skyhawk and DCS can't communicate with air traffic control, so you must use the F10 map to be aware of other air traffic that may be flying near Napa. Press spacebar once you have checked the F10 map. You have reached waypoint 4. Reduce speed and altitude. Turn right 90 degrees, towards Napa. Since you can't contact Napa's ATC to request landing, check the F10 map to confirm there is no other air traffic near the runway. Perform a visual landing. Touchdown. Press Escape if you want to exit the mission now. This is Taxiway C. Proceed forward to Apron 2. Park on spot number 23. Well done, this is spot number 23. You have finished this training mission. Press spacebar to exit the mission.